सदाशिवसमारम्भां शिखराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So we completed the 44th verse last time. So any questions, clarifications?
Swamiji?
Yeah.
Swamiji, towards the end of the last class, you had mentioned that the Shastra helps us understand that the Ahankara is Adhyasa. I just wanted to clarify, does that mean that the reality of the Ahankara is Adhyasa? Is that
No, the reality is the Atma. Ahankara itself is Adhyasa.
Okay.
Because what is Adhyasa? Taking something for something else. Now, you are the pure consciousness. But because apparent association with body, mind, etc., you are taking the body, mind, etc. as yourself. Now, what happens when you take the body and mind as yourself? There is something deeper at play here. What happens is, you are creating a false identity for yourself based on your physical structure, appearance, etc., social concepts of what the body should be like, your emotions, your energy levels, your thinking patterns, what I generally call is, if not the word Ahankara, conceptual self. Now, this identity, purely notional, imposed on the Atma. So that is the real Adhyasa actually. That is the Adhyasa that really causes problems. If you are using it as a functional entity, then it just becomes a uniform you are wearing. But when I take it as myself, then I am giving it a reality which it doesn't have. The reality belongs to I, the Atma. Like how the rope lends its existence, its reality to the snake. Similarly, I, the consciousness, lends my identity or my reality to the Ahankara. So that is where the whole thing comes in. The problem is right there. Therefore, there is actually a false entity created there. And whenever I say I, or I get upset or angry, or I stand firm with my decision, all that is Ahankara. All that is completely the Ahankara. When I am relating to another person, is Ahankara. I mean, it sounds nice to say soul connection, etc. We are soulmates. Those are all just expression for a strong bond or a strong connection. That's fine. At that level, that's okay. Like, I know this lady. She's going through a divorce. Common nowadays. 30% of the people who got married over the last 10 years have got divorced anyway. Not so uncommon. So she has a daughter and the son. Daughter, 13, 14-year-old, very close to the father. Though both the children are staying with the mother. So some spiritual teacher told her, your daughter and your husband are actually soulmates. So not a wonder they are close. It's not a reflection on you. So she came to accept that. I said, good. If it comes to help and accept that these two, father and daughter, have an emotional bond that is stronger than what you have with your daughter. If you can't accept it directly, psychologically. And then if something like this helps you accept it, good. But more than that, I can't think of any this thing. No. So that is what the whole, that's why our whole functioning life is based on adhyasa. The ahankara, that's the issue. That's why I remember when we did the adhyasa bhasha. The student is because of the adhyasa, the seeker is because of the adhyasa, all that we saw. Brahman happens to be presented as Jnayam also because of adhyasa. It's your Atma Swarupa, but being presented as something to be known. That's why when they talk about Krishna as Ishvara, they say, no, Sabko naach nachaya. Yeah, this is how it is. Any other questions or clarifications? That adhyasa is indicated in the next verse very nicely. Jatyabhasam chalabhasam vastvabhasam tataiva cha ajata aja achalam avastutvam vijnanam shantam advayam. Jatyabhasam. Abhasa as though it is born. Samjhi, I was born. I have a horoscope. Sometimes it looks like a horoscope. Jati abhasam. I, the conscious, never born. But it looks as though I am born. Jati abhasam. Chalabhasam. Oh, I went for a nice walk and came back. How can you go for a walk? You have limitless consciousness. There is no place where you are not there. But it looks as though I went for a walk and came back. Body and mind definitely went for a walk. Okay, and better go for a walk. Better go for a walk if you want to maintain absolute basis minimal health. People think by walking everything is taken care of. No, basic. That's the minimum you're supposed to do. Okay, yeah. Minimum. Jati abhasam, chala abhasam, vastu abhasam. Samjhi, this is my reality, you know. What reality? Reality is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. What is the reality you're talking about? Abhasam, appearance. Whatever you're dealing with appears to be your reality. Functionally valid. That's why we say functional validity is there. But reality is limitlessness. And what are you dealing with? Some finite issues. True. Those are functional realities, not absolute realities. Therefore, Vastu abhasam. Vastu meaning reality. What is there? Abhasam, an appearance. Okay. Ajachalam avastutvam. Remember what? Aja, unborn. Achalam, immovable. Avastutvam, it is not an object. Avastutvam is not, that is not a reality. Vastu is a term you use for reality, meaning what is the thing to be known? Like you ask in English another question, what is the thing to be known? So similarly, you'll ask in Sanskrit, Kim Vastu? What is the Vastu? What is the thing to be known? So in that sense, Avastutvam, it's not an object. Avastha. Then what is it? Vijnanam Shantam Advayam. Vijnanam, the nature of consciousness. Shantaha, nothing can disturb it. Advayam, there is nothing apart from it. Remember, technically, when you hear the word Advayam, you are supposed to remember what? Just revising some technical details.
Sajatiya Vijatiya
Yes.
Veda.
Sajatiya Vijatiya Swagata Veda Rahitam Advaita. Because what is it that established duality? There is something other than me. Vijatiyam. Separate class of beings, class of things. So Vijatiyam is not there. Alright, but same jati, human beings, there are a lot of. Sajatiya Veda is also not there. Because consciousness is one, it is not a jati, it is not a group. Please don't translate jati as caste. Jati means a set, a group. Okay. And Swagata Veda. Swagata, Swajatiya Veda, Swagata Veda. Swagata within myself. One body but two hands, two legs, etc. No. So, Vijatiya, Swajatiya, Swagata Veda Rahitam Advaitam. That means there is nothing separate from you. There is not many. You are one of a kind and you are a homogeneous whole. There is no divisions in you. This is Advaita. Okay. This is Advaita. And what is that? Vijnanam Shantam Advayam. Vijnanam and Shantam. Nothing of the nature of consciousness and absolute Shantam. With the peace that cannot be disturbed by anything. Because there has to be something other than you to disturb you. Or you need to create a difference, you and your thoughts, and get disturbed. There is nothing to disturb. That is the funny thing, Is a wise person's mind disturbed? Maybe. Why? It's a mind, no? So sometimes there will be lots of thoughts. Lots of thought means mind is moving fast. It's always one thought at a time. It looks as though there is lots. But there is no lots of thoughts, one thought. So it's getting very fast, lot of thoughts. But is he disturbed? No, he is not disturbed. Why? Because he is the pure consciousness. If one is the pure consciousness, how can one be disturbed by the thoughts that are happening in the mind? Let it happen. So yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, etc., mastery, etc. is meant for the student, meant for the beginner. Once you understand mithyatvam, what is there to disturb you? Sometimes I am scared. Of what? That snake. But you know what is there is only a rope. Yes, but still I am scared. That means you have doubts whether it is rope or something else. If you know for crystal clear you are that it is a rope, you examined it, your beating heart, etc. has come down. Okay. Now, can you say, I am still scared of the snake? Or I have to be careful of that snake? Or that snake is disturbing me? Sometimes that can happen. Why? You had some traumatic experience with some snake sometime in your life. Okay. And that trauma is not resolved. This is called kashaya or klesha in yoga language. Deal with it. Deal with it. Okay. There's a psychological process. Deal with it. But once you know it is, even if those memories comes up, you will dismiss it by saying, that's fine, this is not snake. No. Because you are clear it's a snake. So neither you have to be afraid of it or careful about it or guard against it or nothing. Similarly here, all that mastery, this, that, etc. is before Mithyatva Nischaya. And some amount of mastery is necessary for Mithyatva Nischaya. Yeah, one thing is to deal with it, to recognize it as Mithya. Second, whatever psychological process you need to do. If there is a traumatic experience, you need to do with it psychologically. So there is a lot of psychological process for dealing with it, depending upon the nature of that issue. How you deal with any trauma in life. One important thing is to keep remembering that you survived the trauma and you're okay. Whatever process you're adopting. You survived the trauma and you're here. No? Sometimes just holding on to a sentence or something like that can help. So, deal with whatever has to be done. It's a psychological process. And why is that necessary before you come for the learning? Because otherwise all the teaching comes filtered through all that issues. The teaching doesn't go home. So your mind should be prepared enough to be able to receive the teaching. So that's why some mastery, etc. is necessary. Total mastery is going into samadhi. Is that necessary? No. As long as you can command your mind to be peaceful, that's good enough. Why have they presented samadhi? Because it's easier once you've gone to samadhi to understand you're thoughtless, you're free from the body, independent of the body, etc. It becomes easier to understand. Is it necessary to understand? No. Waking, dream and dream sleep, waking, dream and deep sleep is enough to understand that. You don't have to go into samadhi. In fact, those who have gone to samadhi, now I'll have to, in my teaching, dismiss the samadhi as also another state of experience. Beginning I thought yogis, chitta vritti nirodha is there, they'll make good students. And when I started teaching them, I realized, oh God, they're so stuck with that conditioning of samadhi, I have to spend more time on that. I'm not joking. I have taken classes for a group of yoga teachers, special, only one for them. Gadbad hota. They're so stuck on that samadhi. See, the thing is, if they've gone into samadhi, they'll understand it doesn't work for moksha. They'll understand that. But they're not gone into it. So they're postponing that moksha because of that. Because that, see, previously yoga was connected with Vedanta, not Sankhya. But Vedantins have one bad habit. They hold on to the word mithya, which is good. If they hold on to the understanding, it is good, but they hold on to the word. And because of that, they don't take any sadhana seriously. Any practice, discipline is not taken seriously. Mithya, no? Why should I do all that? I just want the highest. I found a lot of idiots talking like that. I just want the highest. I'm sure Shankara also met people like that. That's why he said, Ardha shlokena pravikshami yaduktam grantha kotami. You want the highest, I'll give you half a sloka. Brahma satyam jagan mithya jivo brahma evana apara. Now go, fish. You want the highest, not take the highest. Otherwise, why should you make that verse like that? When he's written the whole Shankara Bhashya on the Brahma Sutras, on the Upanishads, on especially Vrudanaka Taittiriya, very profound Prakarana Grantha Upadesha Sastri, which is a simplified version of the whole Adhyasa Bhasha is a prose section. And he has done all that. Why should he create a verse like this? Because I'm sure he also met some idiots who said, I am the highest only. Are you ready for it? दे दिया जीवो ब्रह्म वना पर अभी क्या गो फिश if you are ready you will get it, like Bhrigu was told in Taittiriya Upanishad Anandavalli adi hi devo brahmeti Bhrigu vai varunihi swapitaram upasasara. Bhrigu, son of Varna, approached his father. Today a special approach. Why? Approaching as a student. Adi hi devo brahmeti. Oh Lord, please teach me about Brahman. Yato imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti preti abhisham vishanti iti tad brahma tapasa brahma vijijñāsasva tapo brahmeti. Bas, ho gaya. Gave her tatastha lakshana of Brahman and said, go. Now my net is telling me go. If we choose another connection. Every Friday this happens. No? You notice Saturday, Sunday it doesn't happen, Saturday doesn't happen, but Friday night around this time, just before 7:30 it happens.
Usage must be high in the area.
Huh?
Usage must be high.
Must be high, yeah. Okay guys, I'm back. I noticed every Friday night between 7:20 and 7:30 I get some network issues. It doesn't happen any other day or any other time, but this between 7:20 and 7:30, yes. Yeah, just about 7:30. Yeah. Anyway. So now, the very fact that some amount of preparation is necessary, otherwise all this will come filtered through your ignorance and your lack of preparedness. So enough preparedness to understand it. After that the Mithyatva Nishchaya etc. can take place. Then you don't have to bother too much about it. Unless there are certain unresolved issues which you take care of. Then it's a different thing. Yeah. Okay. Then he says, एवं न जायते चित्तम एवं धर्माजा स्मृताः एवमेव ज्ञानम अनंतो न पतन्ति विपर्यये. एवं न जायते चित्तम. Thus in this manner of what we explained. Chittam na jayate, the consciousness is not born. Evam dharmaha ajaha smrita. One has to remember that all the dharmas means jivas here. All of them are really ajaha. The one consciousness alone, therefore unborn. Evam eva vijanantaha. One who knows this clearly, na patanti viparyaye. It does not fall into viparyaya buddhi, any other type of thinking, doubt, error, etc. It doesn't fall back into samsara. Why? Knowledge is there. Really speaking, there is no samsara. There is only a samsari. There is a person who experiences samsara. But there is no real samsara. Why? Samsara is a feeling of finitude. So where is real samsara? If there is a real samsara, then you need a real solution. Correct or not?
But even the samsari is not real.
Yeah, the samsari is also not real. Because the samsari is ahankara. What is the ahankara? Mistaken notion of yourself. So in the ashram we used to have a joke. A brahmachari has come to study about Brahman, okay? Brahmani yo charanti iti. One who is moving in the Vedic part, the spiritual path. So when does a brahmachari become a samsari? When he runs after samsari and makes her also a samsari. That's not said, that's all. So the idea is what? There is an experience of samsara purely because of adhyasa. There is no real samsara, there is no real issues. The whole idea of bandha and moksha is notional. Yeah, that's why he says, okay, vijananta na patanti viparye. That's why Meera sings, no? After she gains the knowledge. Bhava sagar sab sukh gaya hai, fikar nahi ab tarna nahi ki. Where is Bhava sagar? All read up. There is no Bhava sagar. The ocean of samsara is not there. If the ocean of samsara is not there, what do you have to bother about crossing, swimming across? Fikar nahi ab tarna nahi ki. Then of course Meera ke Prabhu Girdhar Nagar. But Meera was very clear. She never talked about Krishna as Gopala. Nagara. Girdhar Nagara. Nagara means Nagarat Agataha Nagara. City sophisticate, okay. Interpreting it, okay. I'm sure there will be some bhajan where she talks about him as Gopala also. Now, he brings back that famous example, Alata Shanti. Okay. What is that? Raju Vakradi Abhasam Alatasta Yadam Patata Grahana Gahika Abhasam Vijnanam Spantati Yatha Tatha. Raju, straight, Vakram, crooked, Adika Abhasa, circles, serpent like. All these abhasas are when you are waving around the burning firebrand, or what we used to do as kids for Deepavali, light those sparklers and create figures. Same thing, he says. Okay. Alata spanditam yatha. As long as the alata is being spanditam, moving around, then all this is there. Okay. Then he says, Grahana Grahaka Abhasam. Seer seen Abhasam. The seer seen Abhasam Vijnanasya spanditam tatha. The manifested consciousness is spinning on this. Duality is based on what? See or seen. What is the minimum requirement for duality? You have to open my eyes and see the world. So this grahaka, this question of duality exists as long as what? As the mind is spinning all this. Tell the man, shut up. Go to sleep. Where is grahakam, etc.? You are nothing but Ananda Swarupa. I mean, however much you will keep scrolling, however much, even in your bed you will keep doing it. Okay. All right. Finally, what? Enough, Baba, I want to sleep. Correct or not? You may be sleep deprived because you are not getting enough sleep. But finally you will go to sleep. Why? There's nothing to match that. Even enjoyments. How much will you keep enjoying? Enough, Baba. Tonight I just want to sleep. And this you have to go to places where entertainment is a continuous thing. If you are sailors, you go to some of these small islands. You go there only for picking up some fruits, vegetables, things like that. Okay? And sometimes you have to load, unload certain things. Because islands, maybe with the exception of big ones like Sri Lanka or something, rarely produce everything they need. A lot of it is God patience. So you go there and they survive on tourism and things like that. Even whole of Sri Lanka survives on tourism. Almost 3/4 of their income come from tourism. Anyway, that apart. So there is constant entertainment going on. And these islands are smaller than Sri Lanka. Maybe just 25% of the size. So constant entertainment going on. And as young sailors, when you will end up there, okay, this is happening, oh, that's happening. So daytime you are working, night time you are going. It is not that रात को खाओ पियो दिन को आराम करो दिन को आराम करने को टाइम नहीं है दिन काम करना है पड़ा you are not there as a tourist you are a working professional being there so daytime you are working night time you are going out and enjoying how long 2 nights 3 nights enough time to sleep Arey, you can sleep when we are sailing No, Baba, enough. Time will always come when you will say enough. Why? Because nothing to match that Ananda. Everything else is what? Chitta Spandanam. Nahi baat hai. Alata Spandanam. Now, Spandanam is not just another problem. Anything you touch in Vedanta, people misinterpret it. Oh, because the mind is projecting, you have to stop projections. Arey, your concepts are good enough, your thoughts are good enough, your emotions are good enough to create all this. Your thinking is good enough. Oh, so stop thinking. No, understand what is behind it. Stop thinking, you can't do. No, Swamiji, experiencing bliss in Samadhi, another problem created. Yeah, there's a problem actually. You will come in this Alata Shanti itself. Gaudapada deals with that as an issue, as a problem. Experiencing this bliss in Samadhi. So all this is Spandanam. You are conceptualizing it, Spandanam. You will come to Vedanta and start categorizing it. This is it, this is it, this is it. Spandanam. You see somebody and start projecting, Lord of Spandanam. How do you think people fall in love? Lord of Spandanam happens. Then reality hits you. This is now the person I got involved with. This is the person. Up to now, you are involved only with your projections on the person. Shobana Dhyasa, what we'll call it. Yeah. So everything is the same. Spandanam only. What else is it? By shutting it down, new Spandanams will come up. You shut down something, something new will come up. You are giving the reality to the Spandanam, that has to go. For that you have to understand about the reality. That you are Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. That's the only solution. Everything else is palliative. You are treating symptoms. I mean, if it works for you to treat symptoms, I'm not saying don't treat symptoms. But don't treat the symptom and think that you have solved the problem. No, problem is still there. Your marriage is a problem, that's a symptom of your existential issue, really speaking. If in a relationship you are having major issues, really speaking, a reflection of your existential issues. But it manifests in different ways. So if you're treating the manifestation, it works. It holds you can make everything manageable until you can go for something deeper. So it's good, do it. So how long? You'll have to keep doing it all your life. You have to keep managing all the life. So all this Spandana. And tell me, once you realize that just the sparkler, just the firebrand, do you really have to stop the Spandana? Once you understood all these forms are created, this kid is scared of the forms, okay? And the father stops and says, Beta, it's only this. See how it is moving? Now I understand. Then, really speaking, do you have to put a stop to the Spandana? Once you know it's only a moving alata, a moving firebrand. That's it, job done. Let the Spandanam happen. संसार का खेल देखो, साधु से संसार का खेल देखो, बहुत मजा आ रहा है, बहुत मजा आ रहा है. It's like a psychologist told me once, when I go to a party, I don't enjoy the party. I said, why? Why you going to enjoy? I'm not much into all those things. But I enjoy watching the people and this thing. I said, good. And what do you do, Somaji, if you are ever at a party? I said, I'm the first person to identify the psychologists and see what they are up to. Purely joking, okay? Hey, you want to go? The Spandanam need not stop once you know the reality. So, Alata Shanti, really speaking, comes not by stopping your thinking. We mistake that. The chapter of Alata Shanti in Mandukya Karika is about quietening your thoughts until you recognize the consciousness. It's about recognizing consciousness, yes. And recognizing all these forms that you're creating in the world. The whole thing that you're created is mithya. Is nothing but Spandanam of your mind. No, but Swamiji, there are certain scientific realities. Yeah, I know. So I always say this, light is a wave motion or it's a straight line motion. No physicist can say it is not a wave motion. But your whole specs is based on straight line theory of light. This spectacles is based on the theory that light moves in straight lines. It works. But light is wave, but this is working. Enough to understand Vityatam or not? Of scientific facts. What is an electron? It's a wave until you observe it. Then it becomes a particle. If a philosopher or a psychologist made such a statement, the physicists will ridicule that. But what are they saying? So I joked with one of my physicist friends. I have friends who are physicists who teaches doctorate students. Okay, it's at that level. So I was joking with him. Yeah, I know. The electron behaves exactly like you. What do you mean behaves like me? So you're very smooth flowing, etc. Everything is fine until a pretty girl observes you. Then you start freezing up. You become a particle. Yeah. He's a single guy, so I can tease him like that. Brilliant in his work, okay, no doubt about it. Yeah, Sagar, you have a question.
Swamiji, interestingly, the same example is used by the Buddhists also.
Yeah.
And they come to a conclusion that, this, when you whirl around this firebrand and that circle which appears is an illusion. There is nothing as an illusion.
So they call it as Alaya Vijnanam.
But they conclude that, the circle exists.
Yeah. So what we talk about as Ahankara, listen, what we talk about as Ahankara, they talk about as the Atma. That is the mistake they are making. Because there is no pramana there in Buddhism. They don't accept the Veda. Therefore, they don't accept the Upanishadic learning. Therefore, there is no pramana. Since there is no pramana, they have to go only by their intellect. So, because of that, they will say, Alaya Vijnanam is only a flow of consciousness, flow of thoughts which creates an illusion of permanence. Now, look at what Gaudapada has done. He has borrowed that, but from there he is going to the pramana, not to his own speculations. Because all speculation is Spandanam. Are you getting my point?
They resolve it into Shanika and emptiness.
Yeah. Because if everything is Kshanika, what has to be the basis? Emptiness.
Yeah.
That is why in Buddhism, you will never get another Buddha. I have met some great Buddhist monks, okay? Very good, very special people, very saintly people also. Okay? And I always bow down to them and say, unto the Buddha my salutations. I always say that. Partly I mean it, partly I also want to see their responses. And they'll always say, no, I'm not the Buddha. I'm only a Bodhisattva, evolving into Buddhahood. It will take many lifetimes for me to reach Buddhahood. Why? Because how are you going to experience I am Shunya? I think there is a song like that which is stupidly said like that about Kedarnath. Main Shunya hu, Varaha hu business. Some Kedarnath song is there like that. Kahan se leke aata these people who write lyrics, they are also idiots.
So you need, basically the observer is still needed to observe
Exactly.
the emptiness.
Exactly. If the observer is there, you cannot experience I am Shunya. And if you can't experience I am Shunya, I am not yet become Buddha. Maximum I am Bodhisattva, evolving Buddha. So he puts it off for next life. Next lifetime, the same thing. Observer is there. Cannot experience Shunya. I am Shunya, you can't experience. You can experience Shunya, nothingness of things, but not I am Aham Shunya. So next lifetime, same thing. 100th lifetime, same thing. It can go on. I mean, it's going on for about 2,500 years anyway. So the same issues, okay? Okay. Now he makes.
Is it a possibility that they talk about Shunya, something on similar lines with I'm everything? Maybe there's a different way of saying the same thing. Is it possible?
See, it is. When you say Shunya has become everything, what are you trying to say? First of all, the word Shunya itself will have to be given up. It cannot even be a Lakshana Vakya. Okay, let us give them benefit of doubt and involve some Lakshana. The only Lakshana that we can use in this case will become Jahal Lakshana, where the word is given up and something connected to it is brought. That's a close, because Shunya has to be given up. The problem is, what is connected to Shunya that you can bring it in?
Nothing. That can be nothing.
Yeah.
You can't use Jal.
Exactly. So Jahar Lakshana you can't use. Can you use Ajahar Lakshana to make Shunya meaningful by adding a word?
If you add, then there is no Shunyatam at all.
Can you do a Bhagatyaga Lakshana?
You can't.
So even Lakshana cannot be used. So then they'll have to say, by Shunya we don't mean Shunya, we only mean empty mind. So if you are saying empty mind, perfectly acceptable. Why acceptable? Because even in our some of our Sahasra Namas you will find this statement. Shunyave Namaha. Then after a couple of words you will get Shunya Sakshine Namaha. Especially in Devi's Sahasranamas, where Devi is looked upon as Maya, no? Therefore Shunya Ve Namaha. And Shunya Sakshini also she is. So if they are meaning something else, then they might as well use a different word than Shunya. Because, see, words are powerful. Words, minimum the words do is create concepts in your mind. So when you say Shunya, it's already a concept of nothingness is created. Then you're saying that nothingness is everything. How are you going to handle that contradiction? How is a mind going to handle that contradiction? See, lot of the statements they say are beautiful and true. Like a famous Buddhist statement, you will never step into the same river twice. Because water is already flowing. It's a beautiful statement. You will never experience the same thing in the same manner twice. No? The second time experience is different from the first time. Why? The first sip of tea and the second sip of tea tastes different, mildly. There is a subtle difference in the two tastes. Yeah. Because now your tongue has been wetted by the first experience. It's different. So that's why if you're using the word Shunya, you're already creating certain concepts. And that inherent contradiction will exist in your mind. Then you will have to take it on good faith. Then there is no more knowledge, it's only belief systems coming
Swamiji, there is also a kind of narrative said that the Buddha remained silent on certain questions
Correct.
because he said any words which you use are basically will give rise to concepts. So they use this Chatushkoti Vinirmuktam thing, saying that nothing can be said about it.
Yeah. So Swami Chinmayanji used the same argument once. Here is the reality. You cannot see it, you cannot smell it, you cannot taste it, you cannot feel it, you cannot think about it. And Swamiji, why don't you tell me that it doesn't exist? Correct hai ki nahi? This is the logic the Buddhists have used. The reality cannot be experienced through your sense organs. It cannot be thought of by the mind. Okay? It cannot be conceived of by your intellect. It cannot be felt as an emotion. Therefore, it must not be there. Because you see, this exact example Gurudev used was, here is a doll. This doll you cannot see, touch, feel, etc. You cannot have an emotional connect. You cannot think about it. I can't describe it. But this is a doll. Then why don't you say that doll is nothing? It doesn't exist. Those who have been attending my Brahma Sutra class, what is the answer to this? That's one good argument, I know. But what is the real answer to this? Those who have attended my Brahma Sutra classes, come on, सोचो तो. अध्यासा भाषा में आंसर है. अभी भूल गया. अभी we are stepping into Naishkama Siddhi. What अध्यासा भाषा you talk about? Something. We have finished that. Huh?
The fact that you know that you can't describe. You
No,
know.
no, not that. न तु आत्मा एकांतेन अविषयः अस्मत् प्रत्यय विषयत्वात्. You cannot say the reality is totally unknown, unsung, etc., 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 because you know it as I. What Anu said as Sakshi, one who is objectifying the nothingness. You know it as I, no? So because it is there
It
as
is not
I,
totally unknown. It is not totally unknown.
it is not
It
totally
is known
unknown.
as I.
Atma is not totally unknown at all. Because you know you exist, you know that you are. Nothing can change that. You don't have to give any logic to prove your existence. Your existence is self-evident to you. Each one of us, our existence is self-evident to us. Do you have to see? Are you there? देख के बताता हूँ. You don't have to do that. You don't have to think, am I there? You don't have to feel, am I there? You don't have to love yourself to say that you exist. Even if you hate yourself, you exist. I am is self-evident. The only problem is with respect to what I am. So because of that, since it's known as I, you cannot say it is Shunya. It is very evident as I. And about the self-evident I don't know my true nature. What I am, I don't know. That I am, I know. What I am, I don't know. Some things that I am not, that also I know. Remember that famous song by Bullaji? Bulla na jane mein kaun hu, na Adam hu, na Moses. All that he says. I am not all these. But I don't know who I am. But that I am, I know. So since that I am is so self-evident, okay, and I am the one who's watching all the spandanam that's happening in my mind, all the thoughts and raising concepts, that all that I am sakshi of. If I am sakshi of, I am independent of that. Whether the spandanam is there or not there, I am there. If you stop the spandanam, mind has stopped. So the correct mind is nothing but a flow of thoughts. Fair enough. Yeah, Anu, you have a question.
Actually, Swamiji, I was just going to make an observation that, I wonder if it seeps into the culture as well. Because when we go to like a Buddhist temple, it's very quiet, very peaceful. The focus is on meditation. It's the nothingness, And then when we go to our temples, there's bells.
It's one holy mess.
There's chaos. Yeah, it's spandana. It's like all the movement and everything.
Yeah, but we have all types of temples. We have some temples where there is one godly mess, but God seems alive and vibrant there. And there are temples which are quiet, peaceful. That's also there. Our temples are, in spite of whatever the modern master says, are places of prayer, of connecting with the divine. Now there is one modern master who says, no, you don't go to temple to pray. You go only to sit and absorb the vibration. So prayer is emotionally connecting up, so you'll absorb the energies and the vibrations better. Because there is an emotional connect through prayer. So because of all that, and because religion is popular in India, it's a huge following in every temple. The first time I went to Kedarnath temple, first time in my life I am going there. Many, many years ago. I must have been about 26, 27. I took a group of people. And there was so much of crowd in the temple that the first day I didn't enter the temple. Then what did I do? Behind Kedarnath temple there is a samadhi of Shankara. So I just went and sat there in meditation. And after some time when I opened my eyes, I found there are 20 people also sitting there. Baba ji dhyan karta hai, hum bhi idhar baithega. So when did I go to the temple? Next morning, when we were supposed to leave at 6 o'clock, 5:30 I went into the temple. And came out. Now even that will be difficult, it is too crowded. It is true. Because of that, in our temples, God seems very alive and vibrant. The energies are very alive and vibrant. But the peace and quietude is missing. So the modern mind is attracted to that peace and quietude. Therefore, when you go to a Buddhist temple, you feel that quietude and you are attracted to that, which is a good thing. So some of our temples are also like that. You go to the Chinmaya Mission temple at Powai, you won't find too much of halla happening there, except during Shivratri. Why? Because it's quite peaceful. You go to a Dakshinamurti temple in Coimbatore, you won't find a lot of this happening except during Arati time. Because Arati is calling out to the Lord, so that has support. Or a Rishikesh Gangadhareshwara temple, you won't find all the racket. So there are temples like that. There are popular temples which are a bit crowded and noisy. Both are there. So go where you feel the peace and joy. That works. Okay, so we have to cut across a good topic today. So 48th verse we'll see next time. Okay, good place to stop. Om Tat Sat.